Welcome to Meet the Ambassadors program, where we meet ambassadors from different nations around the world who are based in Bangkok, Thailand. Today we'll be meeting ambassadors of India, Her Excellency Suchitra Durai. A little bit of Her Excellency background. Ambassadors graduated from University of Madras for Master of Arts in English and Master of Philosophy in Defense Studies. So before serving her position as Ambassador of Thailand, she served as High Commissioner of India to Kenya, as India's ambassadors to Somalia and Eritrea, and was a permanent representative of India to the UN office in Nairobi, Africa. Other countries that she was appointed to include Austria, Egypt, Argentina, and Spain, where she works for Indian Foreign Service. She married to Ambassador Swaminathan, who retired back in 2015 as Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, and they have a daughter and a son. Their son is also here in Thailand with them. So let's go meet the ambassador. So now we're at the residence of the Ambassador of India, Her Excellency Suchitra Durai, and we'll also be meeting her spouse, Ambassador Swaminathan. And yes, so let's go meet the ambassador. And during this COVID situation, let's wear masks for protection first. Yes, let's meet the ambassador.
Welcome.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, Khun Pai.
Thank you. Yes, so now we're at the residence of Ambassador, and maybe Her Excellency can show us around and ambassadors. So
Yes, so this is of course the entrance foyer. So here of course we have the various images, the icons of the Buddha. The one in the center comes from Bodh Gaya, from the main shrine, Bodh Gaya, where the Buddha of course attained his enlightenment. So, and these the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas that are what have been gifted to us by various Vats and also friends from Thailand.
So here's the collections.
This is a collection. Of course, you have the photograph of the head of state of India, the President Ram Nath Kovind, and you have His Majesty King Rama X on the left. I presented my credentials to him in May 2019. This also belongs to the government of India, so this is a bronze Vishnu. I think you also worship Vishnu here in Thailand.
Yes.
Here we have two paintings, which is by a contemporary painter from Telangana, which is again in southern India. Very typical stylized.
You can see this
images
a lot in southern India.
From the state of Telangana. So his painting is typical of the Telangana women, very colorful clothes and large bindi, etc.
So you also have Ganesha, no?
So this is of course
right in the middle center.
This is done in the style of the Tanjore paintings. Tanjore paintings are very typical. They are made with glass and semi-precious gems. And it's a very typical sort of, a lot of gold is used. And this is a tradition which is several centuries old, continues to be done even now. We will see more of that here. I'll show you some of my favorites. So here is a Tanjore painting, which is very typical of the state of Tamil Nadu, from where both of us come from. This is an image of Lord Krishna as a baby. No, actually as a grown-up, although the face is very childlike, with his two wives. So he has both Radha and Rukmini on both sides. This is Lord Shiva. In the pose, which is very similar to the Nataraja pose, which is right here. Maybe you would like to say something about the Nataraja?
See, Nataraja, of course, is a very important place in Tamil Nadu called Chidambaram, where Nataraja statue is there. And Nataraja is basically dancing Shiva. So that's what it means. Shiva again is worshipped in Thailand also, I think,
Right,
Shiva.
right.
So it's a dance in Shiva, basically.
This is the cosmic dance. It's considered the dance of the heavenly
Of the cosmos.
universe.
I
Yeah. So that is what it is. And here is of course a Kashmiri silk carpet, which is very famous.
So detailed.
So the silk
Yeah.
carpets of Kashmir are very famous, and so that is also
Kashmir,
very typical
yeah.
from Kashmir.
Yeah.
Definitely, you see a lot of Thai also.
Right.
So this is our the main place where we entertain our guests. The importance of receiving and hosting people,
And relationship.
and building relationships,
True.
and of course projecting your own country's image and diversity. So India is a very large country; it has many
Yes,
things.
yes, yes.
So so for everything that I say, the opposite will also be true of India. So
I understand.
And this is Kenya.
our Kenya corner. We have many
Oh
things
yeah, you
from
can see from the
Kenya.
arts. It's
Yeah.
very, very.
Yeah, and a lot of
Vibrant.
the special collars and everything, and the ceremonial cap.
Oh, that's a
So,
cap.
yeah,
Oh,
that's like a
interesting.
cap. It's actually like a crown, like a diadem.
I was
you
like,
wear it
where's
like-
the bottom?
You
Where's the
actually
cap?
you wear it
It's
like
like
this.
this, yeah. You wear it like this,
I
and
see.
it's a very special. It's a Luo tribe's chief.
Yeah.
For the
So,
chief.
yeah, for the chief,
So you have
this
to have
is
the
a-
position to
Yeah,
wear the
so
cap.
of course it was a gift. So,
Interesting.
and here are our collection of Ganeshas. So all of them are actually from India, except the
see.
one here is from Thailand.
I see.
The standing
Oh,
one.
it fits right in the
yeah,
color.
so
everything.
it's just,
Right.
and these are of course
Africa?
from Africa,
I'm guessing, yeah.
Egypt, India. It's a mix.
Mixed.
And there are more photographs of my husband. When he was working with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Commission. So they
Yeah,
got
you
the
know-
Nobel Prize
In fact, the Indian
that time.
in 2005, the Indian IAEA got the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
So I used to work with them at that time. So this is like I was
Can I have your signature?
part of it. and this is the Nobel Gold.
The
This is
actual.
the real Nobel Gold with
So
the
the
Nobel Peace
half
Prize.
went to the organization and one half went to the Director General, Mr. Mohammed El Barada at that time. So
Here's the DG.
Get the pricing as a.
That's right. In fact, he
Yeah.
was the one that Mohammed El Barade, our Director General at that time,
I see.
and then the prize was awarded to him as
Yeah.
well as the Secretariat.
Yeah.
So we were about
He was part of the Secretariat.
1,000 of us in the Secretariat. So I was one of the 1,000.
At least you get this. That's
Yeah,
very
we get to
honorable.
see.
This is also with our Prime Minister.
So before I came to Thailand,
Before she presented her credentials.
Maybe you can lift this up. And
yeah, we
show
can
it
keep
as
it.
well.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And
one
this
is
was when Your
the Prime
Excellency
Minister
were
visited.
We were
hosted-
receiving him in Thailand.
And you were
when he came.
beginning with your
So
posting
this is-
here in Thailand.
No, in November, that was almost
So
a year.
this is when she was
Presenting my
High Commissioner
credentials.
in Kenya.
Yeah, when I was
And the
High
President of Kenya.
Kenya.
Yeah, he's the President of Kenya. So His Excellency Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta.
This, of course, is the previous king of Bhutan.
Bhutan, yes.
Not the present one, the present one's father.
Yes, the first
Yeah.
one father.
That's
Jigme.
His Majesty
father.
Jigme
His
Ching
Majesty.
Sige Wangchuk. You can't recognize me in this.
That's you. Oh my God.
Lots of hair.
Oh, so now you prepare some
Yeah,
Indian
something to
food. Is that samosas?
That is it. Yes, you know all
Yes.
about it.
My
So this is
favorite.
the famous samosa
Yeah.
made at home, of course.
I have to ask you a quick fact. So when I go to my Indian friend's house, usually her samosa fillings is vegan. But
Yes.
samosa fillings can also be
Meat also,
right?
it
Fish
can
and
be,
lamb.
yes.
No, it is changed. I think that's more of an innovation, or what would you say?
No, I think in certain parts of India,
Yeah.
there's always a tradition of a meat
Yeah,
patty.
but the traditional samosa always
Yeah.
has potatoes.
yeah, the Indian
Onions and like-
Onion and
no
butter,
onions.
we call it,
No,
peas.
no onions at all.
No, peas
Oh,
and
peas.
Peas
I
maybe, and there's a very special spice mix,
I see. I see.
so which gives it that taste.
And this one is vegan or is
This is vegan also.
Vegan, see? So I feel like maybe
This is a traditional one.
This is the
Vegan.
traditional one.
And you want to explain this?
So
This
explain.
is-
And this is the cashew nut barfi. So barfi is like a marzipan, but marzipan is made with almonds, and this is made with cashew nut.
Oh, cashew nuts. I
so
see.
this is the cashew nut barfi, and
see.
this is vermicelli made in what is called the upma. The upma is a southern savory dish.
I see.
So it's made in with some vegetables
I see.
and some tempering, some little bit of spices, and the curry leaf.
I
So
see.
here you see the curry leaf, which gives it a specific flavor.
The smell of it.
So
I
and
see.
smell also, and so you will get to eat it.
Thank you so much. And speaking of leaves, also Ambassador Durai would like to show us some special plants, some
Yes.
special leaves that she's having outside the house. So
Right.
let's go see that next.
So this is the tulsi plant. You know, it's a holy shrub for us, and in every Indian house, virtually every Indian house, you will find this. So this is called the tulsi or the holy basil. And the leaves are used, in prayer, in puja, as we say, or it can be used even as a herb
For tea
for
as
tea,
well.
and it can, it's got a lot of curative properties, and it is said that it is, it's a sort of a antimicrobial property.
I can smell it from here.
Yeah, it has a very
That's
strong smell.
Yeah.
So along with the neem, the turmeric, the tulsi, they're all very important in Ayurveda also. So, the oil is also extracted from it. So it has a
and
very
used as-
special sort of significance.
I see. And then apart from that, we also have like flowers.
Yes, we have flowers, and then there is another very typical thing that we have, which I don't know whether you can see from here, which is the moringa tree. You can see there in that corner. That's again
The one next to the
spirit
rental
house.
spirit house, I see.
So there you can see the fruit hanging. This is very typical of our
I see.
southern, cuisine.
I see.
So this is the moringa fruit, which is eaten as a vegetable for us, like a
Oh,
stew.
okay.
And the leaves are also, very good for. And nowadays you find
For
it all the
yeah.
So for in a lot of these, herbal sort of product shops, you find
see.
moringa powder being given. So
I'm
this
not
is
sure
the
if
tree.
in Thai it's called makham, but maybe I will.
Maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll insert it. But yeah,
Right.
you see a lot of that in a lot of Thai houses as well.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I see. And also, of course, a lot of.
So these musicians are from Rajasthan.
And throughout the house, you can see the marigold flower, which is very important to India. And then
Yes.
we use to worship the
Yes,
lords
of
here.
course.
You can see a lot
It's a very
of
important
flowers.
flower. Yes.
Yeah.
And we are very happy that there's so many marigolds available in Thailand. It's full of
Yes,
marigolds.
it's everywhere.
All through the year.
Everywhere. Even
All
in
through the year.
We
yeah.
see also in the Erevan shrine also
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of marigolds
for the
are
Lord
used.
Ganesh.
Yeah,
and
also
then-
got Ganesh also.
So that is all for the residence tour, and thank you so much for taking us on the tour. And this is all for the residence tour. Next up would be gift giving. Stay tuned. Okay, so now it's time for the gift giving as a cultural exchange to learn more about Thailand through this gift. So let me just give out the gifts first. Don't open it yet. This is for Ambassador Swami.
Oh, thank you very much. Kaput kap.
You're welcome. And then this is for Ambassador Durai.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And a little bit before, so as we know, Thailand received so many influence from India as we get our language roots from Sanskrit and also our religion, Buddhism. And so now you can open the box. Another influence that we get from India is
Wow.
is the clothing. Yes.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. Beautiful Thai silk brocade.
So this is called the sabai, which received influence from the sari that Ambassador Durai is wearing. We can give a little bit of background for our audience, international audience that might not know what this is. So a little bit background. As we know, sari is the national costume of India, that what the ambassador is wearing. This one is sabai. It is developed and converted from sari. Sari is one long piece of cloth that you wrap around your body as a dress. But sabai is converted to a shorter strip of cloth. Usually when Thais wear here, we only wear it only the top part of our body. So we just wrap it around our
Wrap it
body
around, yeah.
like this. So I'm being like a model for the sabai. So a unique point of sabai is that and then we have this tail that trails to the ground. So this is a sabai.
Sabai.
This is like the pallu of the sari.
Yes. And the sabai, the unique point is that it covers only one side of your shoulder, and we let the cloth trails to the ground. A little bit about the sabai history is that it's influenced by India since the Tawaravadi kingdom, which dates back in the 6th to 11th century. That was when the sari first came to Thailand, and also the golden necklace and the metal belts that Thai people dress as a national costume today. We see that women dress in sabai back in the Ayutthaya kingdom, and also sabai remains very popular during the King Rama V and Rama VI era. Yes, today we still see people wearing sabai at a Thai New Year, Songkran, and also the Loi Krathong festival, where we celebrate the Ganges river. Yes, so that is all for sabai. Maybe Ambassador might have a little bit to add about the sari.
It's really an unstitched garment, which goes back millennia, and that is what Indians have been wearing throughout in different styles, but basically it's the same. Its length is basically about 5.5 meters or 6 yards, as we say, and then we do the pleats and then wrap it around the body, and then one end of it goes over one shoulder, which is very similar to what the sabai does, and this is called the pallu. And this is what I have. So this is one end of the sari, and the other one is of course tucked inside. Similarly, for the men also, it is an unstitched garment, which is called the dhoti. It is not as colorful and elaborate. It is mostly in white or off-white, unbleached colors generally for the men. But of course, we have very ornate borders for that also. And what you have here is a brocade, which means it's a metallic thread which is woven along with the silk.
I see.
And this kind of, it's called zari work, which also came from India. In fact, I understand that even now, the metal threads, the silver threads which come here for this brocade still is imported by Thailand from India. Of course, you have a very rich weaving tradition, and we have as well. And there's been a lot of exchanges since the Dwaravati period, as you say, both religious, socially, culturally, between the two sides.
Also, the word sabai means one strip of cloth, which is exactly the same roots from the word sari.
Yeah, sari, yes, that is how it comes.
Means one. And next up, as for the pa khao ma, maybe Ambassador Swami can hold it up. In English, it's called cummerband. I look it up. Maybe you have to help me a little bit. In Hindi language,
actually cover in Hindi is this part. Cummerband, this you kind of close it. So this is basically
waistband.
So as you can see here, you can use this cloth as a multi-function cloth. You can use this to go shower, go bathing,
or sunbathing, swimming.
Sunbathing, and the very famous usage for Thai is you can use to wipe your sweat out as well. And if you watch a Thai lakon or Thai movie, you can see they use it as a baby crib.
Also,
correct.
The baby inside, and then you can
do that.
And actually, you can also do it on
hang it from the ceiling.
From the ceiling, you can tie it up, and then you can put the baby.
We used to do that with the sari,
Yes,
it's like a cradle, like a cloth cradle, and then the baby sleeps in it,
and you rock,
and you go like this,
and you can make the baby dizzy, so they can sleep really fast. Also, like the sari. In each Indian state, you have your own fabric design of each state. This is the same. So this one we order straight from Ratchaburi province.
Ratchaburi.
Yes. So it's a very unique design of that one. Actually, we ordered right straight from the owner who designed and
Thank
weave
you.
it.
Thank you very much.
So thank
Kabul ka.
you. Please bring this back to India and
Of course.
think of Thailand when
Certainly.
you see this. Every time when I see ambassador on TV or on Twitter, you see many colors of a dress. So maybe one day you can wear this
Definitely.
as Thai. Yes, so that is all for the gift giving session, and then next up would be game time. Stay tuned. Okay, so now let's play. The game we have today is the 10 seconds game. So I am going to read out questions about India, and the person who hits the bells first will have to answer within 10 seconds. But if you cannot answer in 10 seconds, it goes to another person to answer also in 10 seconds.
No penalty.
No penalty. Just get the points or no points. Yeah.
So you can keep on doing this.
Oh, he has a strategy. Oh my God.
That's cheating.
Okay. And please wait until I finish reading the question. And I say go, you can start hitting the bell. Okay. That is the only penalty. But yeah. Okay, so start with question number 1. Timer ready. What are the top 3 most spoken language in India? Go. Top 3. Go.
Hindi, Telugu, Tamil.
Hindi. What?
Telugu, Tamil.
No. Wrong. How many? Okay, you can hit now. Over.
Can I?
Yeah. Okay. 10 seconds.
Okay. Hindi, Bengali.
Yes.
And
Last one.
Marathi.
Yes. Correct.
Wow.
So a little bit on the information. So Hindi is spoken more than 500 million speakers. So it's an Indic language from the northern India, deriving from Sanskrit, and it's the 4th most widely spoken language in the world. And over 250 million people speak Hindi as their first language. Maybe something else to add.
And from many other states also people speak a lot of Hindi.
Yeah.
Although their own mother tongue might be slight variations or a different language completely. A lot of people
Hindi is one of the most well understood languages also in all parts of India. I mean, like not necessarily need to be spoken in that particular province.
I see. Also the second most spoken is Bengali, of course, from the Bengal region, and now it's also the official language spoken in Bangladesh.
Right.
Of 97 million speakers. And lastly is Marathi, mainly spoken in the western India states of Maharashtra, where the city Mumbai is in. So, totaling of over.
So I can get 1/3 mark because I said Hindi.
Okay, is it okay?
Granted.
He really wants to win. Speaking of language, so now we can have you practice some Thai. So now our staff have given us some Thai tongue twisters. We have actually the hardest one here because you can do many tones in India. So
she's the ambassador to Thailand. I am not. She has an advantage.
You were ambassador, so you count as well. So yes, here are the 3. 3-1. So maybe you can speak after me first. The first one is Yai kin lam yai.
Yakin lam yai.
Nam lai yai lai yoi.
Nam lai yai lai yoi.
Perfect. Okay, your turn.
Yai kin lam yai. Nam lai yai lai yai.
Lai yoi. Yoi. Yeah. It means like the grandma eats the lam yai is long gang. And then the nam lai it's saliva, it drifts down. Lai yoi.
Longer is in season now.
Yes, I just had longan yesterday actually. But similar to India too, Thailand has like a lot of fruits.
Of course, lots of fruits.
But not longan. We don't have
longan. We don't have longan, but lots of fruits
here. We have.
Yeah, so lychee you have. Yeah. So please enjoy while you're here.
Thank you.
So that's the first one. Maybe you can say it together fast. Yai kin lam yai nam lai yai lai yoi.
Yai kin lam yai nam yai lai yoi.
Lai kin lam yai nam lai yai yoi.
Yai kin lam yai nam lai yai lai yoi. Yai kin lam yai nam lai yai lai yoi.
Here, get the points for this one. Okay. So moving on the next one, we increase the level a little bit. So we emphasize on the saw sia in the Thai alphabet. So this one is สาวสวยใส่เสื้อสีแสดสวมส้นสูงสีส้ม
สาวสวยใส่เสื้อสีแสดสวมส้นสูงสีส้ม
สีส้ม Yeah, it's a lot of
สาวสวยใส่เสื้อสีแสดสวมส้นสูงสีส้ม
Yes. Wow, are you Thai? So if you say it fast, it's like สาวสวยใส่เสื้อสีแสดสวมส้นสูงสีส้ม
ซอใส่ใส่ซอใส่สีแล้วความซันซุงสีส้ม
South side, swan song, see song. Slower.
We have to give this one to
Also.
Ambassador Swami. Okay. And the last one, this is the hardest. Well, I cannot even say it. I have to concentrate a little bit. So it's กินมันติดเหงือกกินเผือกติดฟันกินทั้งมันกินทั้งเผือกติดทั้งเหงือกติดทั้งฟัน You can repeat after me by sentence. So กินมันติดเหงือก
Kin man tig nang.
กินมันติดหนัง
กินเผือกติดฟัน
Kin purk tig fan.
กินปวดติดฟัน
กินทั้งมันกินทั้งเผือก
Kin tang mon, kin tang pa.
กินแต่มันกินทั้งเพื่อ
ติดทั้งเหงือกติดทั้งฟัน
Ting nang tig tang pa.
ติดทั้งเงือกติดทั้งฟัน
Yes. We have to give points for Ambassador Swami. Okay, I challenge you. So okay, I will say the whole thing at once. So กินมันกินเหงือกกินเผือกติดฟันกินทั้งมันกินทั้งเผือกติดทั้งเหงือกติดทั้งฟัน
กินมันติดเหงือกกินฟันติดฟันกินแต่มันกินตันพักติดนกติดตักฟัน
So now I would maybe challenge me. Maybe you have some tongue twister in Hindi or in the language of
Should I do one in Hindi?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay. तीतर के दो आगे तीतर तीतर के दो पीते पीछे तीतर आगे तीतर पीछे तीतर बोलो कितने तीतर
I lost it since Agate.
You should say it slowly, then she can repeat.
तीतर के दो आगे तीतर
Peter Kedo
आगे तीतर
Arcade Tita
तीतर के दो पीछे तीतर
Peter Kedo
पीछे
Piche Tita
आगे तीतर
Arcade Tita
पीछे तीतर
Piche Tita
बोलो कितने तीतर
Boloke
कितने
Kitne
तीतर
Titra.
This is also like a little quiz.
What does it mean?
It's like birds. You know, two birds in front, two birds at the back.
At back and then-
how many, together?
So now I'll tell you in Tamil because you gave me a tough one in Thai.
Okay.
This
Tamil.
is Kirvi,
Kirmi
Marayil,
Maria
Varai Paratil,
Mari Paratil
Varai Paratil,
Vari Paratil
Paratil Variki Virundal.
Variki Varindar.
Kiravi Marayil Varai Paratil Variki Virundal.
I only get Variki Varindar.
She's doing a very good job, I
Can
think.
you say so slowly?
Which means Kirvi means old woman.
Old woman.
Marayil meaning during the rain.
Yeah.
Varai Paratil meaning on the banana
Leaf.
leaf.
Yeah.
Meaning that banana
No, peel.
plantains peel.
Yeah, peel banana.
Variki Virundal means she slipped and fell.
I see.
It's not a nice one to say, but that's what it is.
Can you say it slowly again? I want to try.
Okay. Kirvi Marayil
Kiri Maria
Varai Paratil
Mari Paratil
Variki Virundal.
Variki Marindar.
She's doing a pretty good job.
Pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
So-
Kunpai.
Thank you so much. So that is all. I will go back and practice and
Yeah,
we can contest
we'll have a
again
competition
next
again.
competition again next time. Next question is about the things that comes from India. So the question is list out 3 inventions that originated from India. Go. Okay, time.
Zero Raman effect. Chandrash. No.
One more quickly. One more. How many?
Ramanujan
Oh,
number
no,
theory.
no, no,
Ramanujan
no,
number theory.
No. Okay, your turn.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Pi. The Indian numerals. And
Come on, 6 seconds.
Ayurveda.
Okay.
Okay.
She gets the point again. So maybe explain on what you mentioned previously.
Yeah, I said zero. You know, the concept of, in fact, the ambassador also mentioned the numbers.
Yeah.
Basically, of course, internationally it is known as Arabic numerals.
Yes,
But then basically, I mean, if you really study it, it went from India
Yeah.
in terms of the concept of zero originated in India.
I
Then
see.
naturally it traveled to the Arab world and then traveled subsequently elsewhere.
see.
So, I mean, it's a funny thing to say. You know, like you can also joke to say, what has been your contribution? My contribution is zero. But then having
okay.
said that,
I see.
zero is the most important concept in mathematics. So
Yeah,
that
if you
way,
don't have zero,
that's
you don't-
correct.
you don't-
Then you may have heard about C.V. Raman. He was a Nobel laureate.
Yes.
So he did this about light energy and all that. He did a lot of research.
he did the
So it's called
scattering
Raman
light?
effect. Yeah, that's
Scattering.
correct. It's
Yes.
called Raman effect. And the third I mentioned was that Ramanujam, who was a very famous
Yeah.
mathematician.
Yeah.
So he had lots of number theory. He's also considered the man who contributed to infinity, meaning that infinity concept, he really explored big time. In fact, there is a movie also in that. It's called, I forget the name of the movie, now it says something infinity. It's a very interesting movie as well.
We can show that to our
That's
audience.
correct,
And also, yes, he's the one that we all college students have to learn about the Infinite series. So
Yes,
it comes
that's right.
from
him,
his mathematician as well. And also very important, the light scattering, which I also get a chance to learn
Physics,
in university as well, where after you reflect the light on some object, it has a different wavelength.
Yeah, wavelengths
so
it
he's
goes,
the one who discovered that. So very amazing. And yes, for ambassador.
Then of course the pi, as your name suggests, I think
the 3.1415.
right. So that also is supposed to be the contribution of Indian mathematicians.
That's why I never beat my Indian friends in math ever. Like I'm a decent math person, but she's so good. But
You should have had a classmate like me. You would have beaten me all the time.
And also, and also addition to that, in everyday use product, shampoo comes from the Hindi word shampoo, or another word in Sanskrit is chapayati, which means head massage. It's invented in 1762 as a Mughal empire.
Champi.
Yeah,
Champi.
Yeah, it means head massage.
Yeah.
Also, adding on the medical field, you create the cataract surgery.
Right.
So in Thai, it's ผ่าตัดต้อกระจก. So basically, if you age, you have like the
that's your cataract.
Cataract in the eye, and then an Indian physician named
Suchitra
developed in the 3rd century. Okay, this is about like celebration in India. So the question is, list out 3 famous festivals celebrated in India. Go. 3 festivals.
Diwali, Holi, Christmas.
Okay, yeah. He got it. He got the point. So 2 for you and 1. Okay, very cool.
All right, good.
Yeah, and here I got Diwali, Holi, and another one is I'm really interested in Kumbh Mela.
Kumbh Mela.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't come every year.
Every
It comes,
year.
No, 12
Every
years.
year, 12 years,
and
yeah.
4 times. But firstly, maybe explain a little bit about Diwali, if for some audience didn't know.
Yeah, okay. So Diwali or Deepavali is the festival of lights. So every year, either in October or in November, depends upon when the calendar at that time, the Indian calendar, the date falls.
Yeah.
So this celebrates in North India. It is considered to be the day when Lord Rama came back from his exile in the forests. And the people of Ayodhya sort of erupt in joy and then light up the entire city, and that is the festival of Diwali is celebrated. In the south, it is also celebrated as the demon Narakasura is killed by the god, and therefore it is like a destruction of evil. So the same concept, the victory of good over evil comes in. And then of course Narakasura, when he goes, he also says that please celebrate
my passing.
My passing. So in fact, so that is what is also celebrated in that sense. So, and all people of all religions everywhere in India, it is generally
it's very
people
unique.
enjoy,
to enjoy
because you wear new you wear new clothes, and you eat a lot of sweets, and of course you light the lamps. So Sikhs, Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, everybody, even people from Christians, Muslims, everybody joins in these festivals.
It's very, super unique, I feel like. And next up would be what you mentioned. My favorite festival of India, actually. Yes, Holi.
Yeah, because it's a festival of colors, you see. And again, it comes during springtime. I mean, like it's the beginning of the spring. And naturally, flowers, bud, trees flourish, like it kind of, life is again coming back after the harsh winter. So that's celebrated with great gusto, with colors and things. In fact, if you see, there is Songkran, the way that it is celebrated in Thailand is somewhat, I would say, similar to what we do in Holi, of course.
Of water.
And here we use colored water, but then of course, Here, I think you use primarily not a colored water, no? You use
more like a
plain water,
flower,
that's
flowers.
scented water
Scented,
and things
yes,
like
correct.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that way also there is a lot of connections, I would say, even in the festivals between India and Thailand, I would say. Yes.
And also the Festival of Love too, as we celebrate, the story again tying to the Lord, the God Krishna, and also
That's
Goddess
right.
Radha,
Radha,
like
yeah.
celebrating eternal love and all. And also I'd like to speak a little bit on Kumbh Mela. The first time when I watched documentary on about this, I was like, how can like this large crowd gather in that one place
yeah.
for that so many? So I was so amazed. But also Kumbh Mela is a major pilgrimage
Yes, of
to
course.
the Ganges River, and it's celebrated 4 times over the 12-year course. So
Right.
it rotates.
We call it Mahakumbh, the final one, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, the every 12 years is
Yeah.
a Mahakumbh, and then it rotates to between Hardwar, I think to Nasik
Ujjain,
and Ujjain. I think it
yeah,
just
Ujjain.
keeps rotating
Yeah.
between these 3, and then of course you have the Mahakumbh. Because you see, the river has a very sacred position in our life.
Yes.
So, all the rivers, in fact, are
Same-
worshipped
same as
also
one,
the
yeah.
way you do
The
here in
Mekong,
Thailand.
yeah.
So, it's always Chao Praya, no?
Yeah,
So, it's similar for us also. It is always, the goddess Ganga, the goddess, Narmada, Kaveri, Mahanadi. So every river is actually also a goddess for us. Brahmaputra is the one main river,
Ah,
so it's the only one main river, and it's huge river.
See,
Again, it flows.
In fact, even Mekong, the name has
Yeah,
a
Ma
connection
Ganga.
with the Mahaganga.
Yeah,
Mekong.
Yeah, Me is mother.
Yes.
A Kong
Is
is like
the-
Kong Ka.
like
It's
Kong
the-
Ka,
yeah,
yes.
Kongka,
yeah.
Gangka.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So it is from that.
Mekong.
I don't have to explain. This is the tape. I explained the least, so they already explained that. So next question is, India is the birthplace of world's major religion. So what are the 4 religions that started in India? Go! Go!
Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism.
Okay, correct.
Good.
So I would like to touch based on the 4 religions that were born in India. So I feel like religion has historically influenced culture, economics, politics in all levels in India. So I feel that's a very unique point.
Absolutely. I think, unity in diversity is really the national motto of India.
Yeah.
And it plays out in real life, because we have linguistic diversity, we have
Yeah.
religious diversity, we have ethnic diversity. So you will find people who look very different from each other, from different parts of India, and we're all Indian, because
Yeah.
what really keeps us together is our national ethos. And the constitution itself celebrates this diversity that we have in our language. I think there is the saying, Yem Madam Sammadam.
Yemmadamum Sammadame.
That means-
Yemmadamum Sammadame, meaning all religions are same. Meaning that
They are my religion.
they are my religions.
It's
All religions are my
equal.
religions. I mean,
Yeah.
like I attach equal importance.
Yeah. So this is really the approach that everybody has. That is why there is also the celebration of other people's religions. Even
Yeah.
if you were born into one religion, you
Other
still very
religions, so
happily
still-
celebrate everybody's
Yeah.
religion, and
Yeah.
we enjoy it also. So this is one more opportunity for us to get together and to
Yeah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
It is, of course, a very important part of the economy, as you say, because of course the more festivals, the more things people buy, and
Oh,
the
yeah,
more,
and then
clothes,
they're
and the more dresses, and
More
the whole
sarees,
thing.
more, yeah.
Exactly. So that also is a very important aspect of keeping
I
the
see. True,
consumer, occupied
True,
and
true,
going.
true.
We bring in all this, and ethnically also we have a complete mix in India. So you have the Tibeto-Burmans who are in the northeast,
Right.
including Thai people there.
Yeah, the Thai, the
so
big-
then you
yeah.
have the Indo-Aryan peoples. Then you can have the Dravidian people,
Yeah.
the Australoid
Yeah.
people in central India, and spread all over the people who came from Africa in different kinds of migrations over the years. And of course at one level we are all Africans,
True.
so
True,
that
true,
way it's a complete
Yeah.
mix, and you can see that in the country, and we're very happy with that diversity. We enjoy it, we celebrate it.
Yeah,
we're very
very
proud of
strong.
it.
In fact, I could have said that contribution of India, one is the Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, the
Vasudhaiva
concept,
Kudumbakam,
Vasudhaiva
yes.
Kudumbakam. That means the entire universe is one family, and it's your family. So
Yeah.
meaning, when we talk about this globalization and
Yes.
the entire globe being one family,
Yes.
but this concept had existed in Indian philosophy thousands of years ago.
Yes,
as
yes.
expressed in this Vasudhaiva
Vasudhaiva
Kudumbakam. Yeah.
Kudumbakam. That means Vasudha is the earth.
Vasudha.
Vasudha
In Thai, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Kudumbam is the family.
Family, yeah.
So the world is one family.
Okay, so the last question. I won't say the topic because I will just say the question. Okay. List out 3 popular foods in India. Go.
Wow.
Go.
Three
Go. 3
popular?
food.
Biryani,
Uh-huh. Wait,
chicken
wait,
tikka,
okay, one more.
naan.
You won.
Sorry.
The first ambassador to win.
Sorry.
The first ambassador.
That's because of that's because of the gender. The women are always cleverer.
Okay, so food, like we were shown in the residence tour earlier. Of course, naan. You cannot separate from Arab Indian food. You can have naan in every meal. So maybe explain what naan is for audience who doesn't know.
Okay, so we have different kinds of bread in India, especially North India. The roti, the bread, the flat bread is very popular. It's a staple. In southern India and in the hills and the northeast, it's actually rice is the staple. I'll come to that earlier. So the naan is one kind of bread which is made primarily in the tandoor or the clay oven. It's more typical of northwestern India, and it is of course not made at homes normally. It's made in the restaurants because you need to have a proper tandoor. But we do approximations of it at home in a normal oven or over a griddle you can make. But the most typical ones are made in the clay.
Yeah, because we make
oven.
it at home here also.
Called tandoor, right?
Tandoor, that's the clay oven.
And the most classic one that I went to India and had is like garlic and butter.
Oh yes, garlic and butter is very
and
popular.
You can have like chili naan as well, right?
You can have chilies.
I mean, you can
have
various
garlic,
infusions.
You can have
Various
coriander.
infusions.
You can have mint.
Coriander.
You can put various things.
I see. And then the second one that you mentioned were
Biryani.
Biryani, yeah.
Biryani of course is very famous. Even in Thailand you have a biryani. I think in southern Thailand.
Yeah.
So we have the biryani, which is again from different parts of India. You have the Mughlai style of biryani, which is in North India, particularly from Lucknow, which is the capital, the Awadh region of Uttar Pradesh. It's very famous. Very rich, lots of dry fruits in it. Then you have the Hyderabadi biryani, very famous, southern India, very spicy, cooked with yogurt and spices, etc. And the long green rice is very important for that. The basmati rice, which gives it that kind of flavor, saffron, so on.
Saffron smell.
Yeah. So different parts of it. Bengal, you have a Bengal biryani. So you have from different regions. The biryani is very famous.
I see.
I'm
sure that ambassador.
In this talapaka biryani.
Yes.
Not the biryani, but I make vegetable. The vegetable biryani I can make.
We get a question from Twitter that is chicken tikka masala is Indian? No, it's not.
Well, the British, of course, claim that it is their national dish.
Yeah.
Obviously, they were inspired by the dish in India, and there is a restaurant, in fact, in Delhi, which claims that it was the first to have done it. Be that as it may, it is okay. I think it's also good that if your own food is taken as somebody else's, it also means that your food is so popular. That is very good for us.
Right.
And we are there to share, so it's perfectly all right for us.
Yes, that is all. And Ambassador won, so
Congratulations.
Congratulations, all sportsmanship. not
He
like
let me win.
So it's still consistent that the female win at this game.
Always,
so I will still keep finding the game that no man has ever won this game. Yes, so that's a wrap for the game session. And next up would be Q&A with Ambassador Durai. So please, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our final part of the interview is Q&A with Ambassador Suchitra Durai. And the questions are selected questions from a variety of groups, Thai who have been to India or expats living in Thailand, and questions from Facebook and Twitter. They are all asked, what is one question would you like to ask the Ambassador of India? But firstly, please share with us your background, where you were born and your path in becoming the ambassador.
Right, yeah. So I was born in India, in the southern city of Trichy, which is in Kerala. I don't belong to Kerala. I actually belong to the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu. Okay. But, the tradition used to be that the lady would go to her mother's place and to deliver the baby. So my grandparents happened to live there. So I was born there.
I see.
And then I spent my early childhood in Delhi, which is the capital. And then later on in Madras, which is now Chennai, which is the capital of the state of Tamil Nadu. So that's where I went to school mostly and did my university. My and background, of course, University of Madras. I did my master's in English literature. Then I joined the civil service. In between, I worked for 3 years as a journalist. Before I joined the civil service in India, the civil service is a very, very tough entrance examination.
I see.
So we have to compete with many hundreds of thousands of people. So I made it. And then my first posting was Spain. The next I went to Argentina. Then I was posted to Vienna, Cairo, Kenya, and now of course Thailand. And in between, for long periods, I was in Delhi in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Starting out with the first question is about nationality. The question is, what does being Indian means to you, and how does your career as a diplomat shape the definition of being Indian?
Being Indian, there are multiple aspects to it. Firstly, I would say the fact that you're an inheritor of a very ancient civilization. So we have, there are many old civilizations, but in India, what we pride ourselves in is the continuity of our civilization. So we have 5,000 to 6,000 of continuous the same civilizational aspects have continued. So as an inheritor of the civilization, you feel, of course, pride, but then more than that, you feel very humble and you have a great sense of responsibility that you have to truly represent this civilization.
This huge,
this huge thing. So of course there is the tradition and then there is the diversity, because India is not just one language or one religion or one ethnic group. It's a multiplicity, and that is something that we celebrate in our constitution. So unity and diversity is what we believe in. We Indians, we like to speak our minds on every topic. So it's quite all right not to agree on things.
Right.
So we have a very vibrant media. Like in Thailand, we have a very vigorous civil society, and this is part of our democratic tradition, that we celebrate this freedom of expression. Naturally, in such a way that no freedom is absolute, so we cannot go and hurt another person's sentiments. But within that, we are quite used to speaking our minds on everything and anything.
And just like you said previously, whatever you say, the opposite might be true.
Absolutely. There are so many aspects of India. So if I say something, I always have to add a caveat that maybe in some other part of India, it would be done differently.
Right.
So I have to always be conscious of that.
Right.
So here also we do that. And, another thing about India is that, we really have this sense of jugaad, which is a term which is, a North Indian term. Basically, what it means is improvisation. So we are, very quick to improvise. So anything, it's okay. We'll try and fix it.
Right.
And we'll try to just, keep it running. Another very Indian, I think, trait is multitasking. You're speaking to one person, you're also speaking to another person at the same
also
time.
Texting the same
you're
time.
doing something else. And this helps us in my work, because after all, we don't have a linear thing. Several things are happening at the same time. You have to do a lot of crisis management.
Right.
And so this sense which is there is widely prevalent in most of us, helps us to tackle a situation as a diplomat. I'm myself from southern India, but I also grew up in Delhi with the capital. But when I went outside of India, I learned so much about different groups from different states of India. You are aware of the richness of your tradition. You're also aware of how much you can improve also as a society.
Yeah.
You learn as you go along, because diplomacy is all about that. It's people to people. It's a give and take. It's an exchange of ideas. It is to create peace and international understanding. So even as I explain my country to the people of another country, I also learn about that other country's practices and culture, and I convey that to my own authorities and say this is
communicator of the
yeah.
two.
So you become a bridge in that sense. And I think life is a journey which is a journey of learning. So a diplomat's life is in that sense very interesting, because as you go along, not only are you communicating your own country and projecting your own country, making another group of people understand your country, but you're also learning in that same process.
Right.
So that is what
wow,
it has been.
Nicely summed up. And I feel like, especially with the country of India, it is such a challenge for you to only still learn about your country, since each state, as you say, it's so different from each other, and you would also have to intake the other culture from other countries as well. So I think it's a very significant job. So now I'd like to speak about bilateral relations of India and Thailand. So in 2021, we celebrate 74 years of diplomatic relations since the embassy opening in 1947. And moreover, actually our connection dated way back during the Siamese kingdom, where we have, of course, our language from India, the roots, and our religion, and also our literature. Ramakien, where all the elementary schools kids read it these days, also came from Ramayana. So now let's talk about the cooperation between us in economy and also cultural exchange. So on economy, India economy is the world's 6th largest economy by nominal GDP. So also from 2013 to 18, India was the world's fastest growing economy, surpassing China. What is the cause of the continuous economic growth in terms of like policy?
Yes, I think it's since the last, I would say, 4 decades, there has been a continuous growth in the India's economy. There have been some periods of deceleration, but not in a major way. So mostly it has been a sort of upward trajectory. In a big way, it started off in 1991 when we had the liberalization of the economy. And what has happened since then is, of course, lowering of taxes, a greater inflow of foreign direct investment into the country, and greater productivity, and an integration of the Indian economy into the world economy, because earlier on we were more protectionist in the way we were doing things, more trying to make the domestic manufacturing stronger. So in the 1990s, we really started opening up to the world, and it has been growing from time to time. And then one thing which is very important is that India has a very large middle class, 400 million, strong middle class, which means we have the economy of scale can be
domestic
built
alone.
Using the domestic thing alone. Of course, for capital infusion, we needed money from outside, and this has been coming. In fact, even during the COVID period in 2020, I think India probably was the most attractive destination for foreign investment in the world. We got about $73 billion worth of foreign direct investment. So, which is, I think, one of the top, was coming, constantly. And we have also taken a lot of initiatives, particularly from 2014, when, our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi came in.
People are at the heart of all relationships. From Houston to Hyderabad, from Boston to Bangalore.
Many restrictions were removed, and ease of doing business in the global rankings, we went up by 69 points.
Wow.
So we've come up, quite a bit. Then many initiatives have been taken, including Digital India, which is very important, to ensure that there is also the jam trinity, as they say, which is the Jan Dhan, which is opening of financial accounts for everybody, including the very poor people. For example, everyone has a bank account.
I see.
So everything, the transactions become more transparent, the financial everything is visible. You can keep track. The direct benefit transfer, all the cash transfers go directly into the bank account. So there's very little leakage of fund. Then taxes, it becomes very obvious that the revenue goes up, which is collected by the state. And we have the Aadhaar card, which is the basis, the unique identification number system, which everybody, virtually everyone in the country now has an Aadhaar card. And of course, the mobile system of financial transactions. So it's a JAM, the JAM Trinity, which is very important for financial inclusion in the country. We have the third largest ecosystem for startups in the world. So it's very good time to be an entrepreneur in India. A lot of support which is coming from the state. Bilaterally, our economic cooperation has been, as you said, long-standing, and it has grown over the years. And in fact, we have two instruments. There is the Early Harvest Scheme, under which 83 items are covered between India and Thailand. This is the bilateral mechanism. And then we have the India-ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, which is implemented since 2010. So bilaterally, we have got about $12 billion worth of bilateral trade. We are still, there's a lot of potential to improve because Thailand is our fifth largest trade partner in ASEAN. So we can actually grow up far more, because Thailand is, after all, the second biggest economy in ASEAN. So there's so much more potential that we can have to grow between the two countries. If you're looking at the sectors that we are working on, gems and jewelry is a very important segment. Agricultural products, you have marine, products, you have pharma, chemicals, dyes, automotive products, electronics. These are, broadly speaking, the areas of trade.
So in terms of, in shortened, you have the whole full answer. In shortened, that making the market more democratic, whether in the vertical stance or in like horizontal, in terms of cooperations with other countries to gain more investment, and also the Digital India, making use of the online, and then having citizens becoming entrepreneurs or like business owners at the time. It is the time to do it, since because of like large part of middle class. So in short, is to make the market more democratic. So touching a little bit more on trade, could you please give us a quick overview of trade between Thailand and India? What is the main imports-export sector? Maybe like pharmaceutical product, machinery, and so on. Are we moving more into service, or? There
is a lot of scope in moving into the services, particularly in the IT and the IT-enabled services area, cyber security, so on and so forth. FinTech is another area where I think all of us, have a lot of interest in. Thailand has strengths, in the e-commerce sector, and that is one area that India would like to collaborate with. So these are areas that we can definitely work together. Banking, insurance. India is opening up in a very big way now. 100% investment is possible in many of these things. For example, recently we had the single biggest investment from Thailand into India in the area of renewable energy. Thailand's PTT has one of the subsidiaries of PTT, has invested in this company called Avada, Energy. So that is in the area of solar energy. So solar energy, we've created already 450 gigawatts of solar energy, and we are trying to scale up even more. So there's a lot of potential for Thai investments into India. Similarly, Indian investors are also already here for the last 50 years. We've had Aditya Birla, for example, which has about 6-7 factories in the area of chemicals, in the area of rayon, carbon black, etc. And they are all there in central provinces and also in the Rayong area. They have their factories here.
They produce rayon in Rayong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The next question is about how do you foresee the future trends in the next 10-20 years between India and Thailand, and if there are some investors watching, which sector should they be eyeing on?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I think certainly renewable energy is an area where there's a huge potential for growth in India. And I think all the capital which comes in this area will find it to be very profitable in actually investing in it. Plus we have a lot of startups coming up in various fields, and they're all looking for investments, and many of them will become unicorns already. I think we have about 63 unicorns or something. So
my gosh, you only have one.
It's kind of really sort of getting there, and so the idea is that all this through the Startup India program is that youngsters should not be job seekers, but they should be job creators. So that is the government's vision of ensuring that because by 2022 the mean age of India will be 28 years or something. So we have a lot of young population, and we'll need jobs for everybody. So it's important to create all these jobs. So those are very, very important areas where we can collaborate, and pharma, biotechnology, robotics, machine learning. In fact, we are offering under the ASEAN India program, we are offering 1,000 university scholarships to people from all over ASEAN. So 100 slots are there for Thailand under this, in all these cutting edge areas. In one of our best institutions of higher education is the Indian Institutes of Technology. So they can pursue artificial intelligence, of machine learning, targeted drugs, robotics, artificial intelligence. It's all fully paid for, PhD sort of a thing. So you can pass the word around through to your viewers so that they can look it up and apply for it.
Where can they see
the embassy's website. It's all there available. And they're most welcome to send us a mail, and we'll be happy to answer any queries that they may have.
So nicely wrap up. In addition to exchange in economy, we also exchange in humans,
education,
in people. Adding on to that, so now we move out from economy to tourism. So tourism, like Thailand, India is huge in tourism with over 10 million foreign tourists before COVID, back in 2019. So India is well known for religious places and Hindu pilgrimage sites. But in addition to that, we like to focus on the modern India. So adding on nicely with that, with the high-tech city, advanced in technology in Hyderabad city. So apart from that, well-known city like Mumbai, New Delhi, Jaipur, maybe what else can you recommend for the visit?
Well, I think you mentioned, of course, Hyderabad, which is also jokingly called as Cyberabad, because it is one of the advanced cities as far as this technology is concerned. And then you also have Bengaluru, also Bangalore. So that is also entered the lexicon. In fact, I think one US president, in fact, very famously said, about Bangalore, really. So it's, so the IT industry is very big in Bangalore. Apart from that, space also, India has done very well in space technology. We are, I think, one of the leaders as far as, we've got a moon mission, we've got a Mars mission, and soon we are working on a human space flight also. that is ongoing, and we launch satellites for everybody in the world. One of the most cost-effective launches that we have, in the world. So
so you can launch more.
You can,
much more.
and in these satellites are very useful for communications.
Right.
For long distance educational needs,
Yeah.
for remote sensing,
Yeah.
weather forecasting. They have so many uses.
Practical uses, yeah.
Absolutely. So I think space technology is something that we are doing very well in. And we have 100 smart cities coming up in India. And of course, when it comes to tourism, I think adventure sports is something that Thais like. So we have many mountains in the north. We have the snow-capped mountains. So you don't have to go to Europe or somewhere else for your
it's much closer.
It's just 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. You can come there. And we have ski facilities, we have white river rafting,
right.
We have all this parasailing, you can do windsurfing. We have about 7,500 kilometers of coastline. Of course, you have wonderful beaches here in Thailand,
right.
But we also have some very interesting places there. And now, we're also developing island tourism in the Andaman Nicobar, islands, which are of course very close to Thailand.
I see. So you can visit as a vacation.
And then you can go to the Rann of Kutch, which is some very beautiful and natural habitat. We have some wonderful wildlife sanctuaries. The one-horned rhino, which is there in Assam. Lots and lots of elephants, tigers, huge population, and the only place in Asia which still has lions. So the Asiatic lion is there in India. So we have a lot of wildlife. People who enjoy watching wildlife can come to India. A lot of adventure sports, and then wellness tourism is something we are also promoting.
Yes.
So yoga, Ayurveda. There are many places that people can go to, spend a week in a retreat, enjoy yourself. Have wonderful cuisine, taste different kinds of regional food.
So a great way in highlighting the contemporary of India. So don't just go to India for Agra, for the 7 wonders of the world, for Taj Mahal, but please come to India for medical tourism, or even sanctuaries, or even hiking, skiing in the north, and
shopping.
Yes.
You must go
Why did
there
we not
for the
mention
shopping.
that?
You can shop till you drop.
Yes. But also Chennai, I'd like to touch a little bit on that, because our audience, if they were to rate one of the top, obviously Mumbai, New Delhi is up there, but also Chennai. And I'm happy to know, I just know that it's your hometown.
Yes.
So Chennai is earlier known as Madras. So Madras
yes.
University that you've been to. So it houses several Hindu temples, churches, museum, like home to Fort St. George, built in 1644. And it has the museum showcasing, if you like to visit, like a previous East India Company trading post. So you can see, learn about historic there. And also temple of, you have to help me with the name,
Kapalishwara, yes. That's a beautiful old temple there, which goes back, several centuries. And Mylapore is the heart of that city, really, the traditional part of the city. It has a wonderful music, a classical music and dance festival every year. In the month of December. So the December, if you like Indian classical music and dance, you should be in Chennai, because that is really the mecca of classical music and dance at that time.
And now moving on to the final topic is about culture. This is for the ambassadors to maybe share some reference for you to look up about famous figures of India. So India's culture is among the world's oldest, and so it has been brewing up people who changed the world in the arts, in the science, and of course, most importantly, religion. So in this topic, could you share your favorite influential people of India? Can be authors, artists.
I think if you look at in the contemporary times, because after all, the most famous person from India particularly in Thailand, would be the Buddha.
Buddha, yes, for sure.
And so I don't have to speak about the Buddha at all. Everybody knows, I think, probably more than me, about Buddhism and the kind of life-changing philosophy that it has, the effect that it has on people's lives. And Mahatma Gandhi, for me, really, who is the father of the Indian nation, has been, really one of the most influential Indians in contemporary times. A man who really led the people through this, wonderful, philosophy of non-violence.
Yes.
And very uniquely, became successful in that and became an inspiration for many other countries and many other leaders. And he was a great writer also.
He was a lawyer, right?
He began as a lawyer, then he went to South Africa, practiced, and at some point in time, because of the injustices, of the colonial system, he took to, actually speaking up and became the voice of the underprivileged, really, of the oppressed. And came back to India, and thereafter took over the leadership of the movement, etc. So and he's written extensively, and if you read his writings, it's so beautiful because it's very very contemporary, very simple, direct language, and a lot of sense of humor, and virtually on every subject.
Right.
So not just on politics, there'll be on religion, there'll be on environment, on hygiene, on health, so on everything. Virtually, he was a man who really lived, he practiced what he preached. So he's a very, very tall figure. And then, of course, there are many other figures who are wonderful. As a writer, I would say Rabindranath Tagore. Again, very familiar with Thailand because he visited Thailand also.
I see.
And gave lectures here. And so Tagore, who won the Nobel Prize for poetry, is really, he wrote in Bengali. That was his first language. I have only read his writings in English, in translation. But they're beautiful. They're so lyrical, and not just as literature, but as philosophy. He also stood for internationalism. So, he was, for humanity, absolutely, borderless, sort of really, his philosophy really touches many people, and particularly, I really feel very strongly attracted to his kind of poetry and his philosophy, etc.
And also poem is, I'm sure it's out in the internet, a lot of his poems, so feel free to check it out. So maybe
and you should read the Gitanjali, which is, one of the most famous collection of his poems, for which he got the Nobel Prize for Literature. So that is something I would strongly recommend. Although he's written plays, he's written novels, he's written so many other
writer,
kinds.
so
he's composed so much of music. Our national anthem, it was composed by him.
He's an artist too.
Absolute artist.
There is. And this name, I cannot not mention, of course, Mother Teresa. She's a Roman Catholic nun who also received a Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. So.
And she's a great figure of inspiration for us, and has a very large number of followers and people who really admire her work. I think she was really an example.
Very clear, like woman figure that I
absolutely and very committed and sincere.
Many people mention about the actor and actresses. Bollywood, of course, is huge industry in India. They would consider like some actors are as a national treasure. So Shah Rukh Khan is like the national treasure of India and also the viewers of around the world. But is there other, like maybe in music or in singers or in like art industry?
There are wonderful. Shah Rukh Khan is of course, he's huge. He's a superstar, as they say. We also have other actors like Amir Khan, who are also very, very famous. We have Salman Khan, who has also done many wonderful films, very popular. And in virtually every language, you have some very major stars. For example, where I come from, you have stars such as Rajinikanth, who are really famous. They have a big following also abroad. For example, I think Rajinikanth has a big following in Japan, for instance.
Really?
Yeah, very big fan. And then you have Kamala Hassan, who is again a very, very good, very wonderful actor. And of course, many female actors who are doing excellent work. So all of them are very good actually in their own ways.
So,
and a musician you were mentioning, sorry.
Yes, musician.
Yeah, I think A.R. Rahman, who is a music composer, is really famous. He also won, I think...
Nobel Prize?
No, he did not. But I think, some of his compositions have been used in very famous films, including in Slumdog Millionaire, etc.
Oh, okay.
So,
yes, I watched that.
So Jai Ho, I think, is a song which has become really very famous, and then he is composed for Broadway shows and so on and so forth, musicals. So he's really become internationally very well known.
And that is all for the program today. And thank you very much for participating, Ambassador, and also thank you viewers for viewing. And feel free to comment below on for future interviews. Thank you so much for today. ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
Thank you so much ขอบคุณค่ะ